Thank you for joining us. Now at noon, the governor just announced who will lead the state in regulating the new cannabis market. She is Erin Dupree, a small business owner who's also the founder and head of research at Lunacy Cannabis Company in Apple Valley. As the state's first director of the Office of Cannabis Management, she will be responsible for issuing licenses and developing regulations outlining how and when businesses can participate in the industry. In Minneapolis, the city council is postponing the appointment of the Community Safety Commissioner. Last week, Mayor Jacob Frey nominated Hennepin County Chief Judge Todd Barnett for that role. At this morning's meeting, though, Council President Andrea Jenkins referred Barnett's appointment back to the Committee of the Whole in order to allow for a public forum. If confirmed, Barnett would be in charge of the city's 5 public safety departments, which do include police and fire. Well, just a few hours ago, the University of Minnesota released new details about what information was accessed during a data breach earlier this year. The U of M has confirmed a hacker accessed names, addresses, social security numbers, and employment information, among other things. The database included anyone who was connected to the U of M between the years of 1989 and August of 2021. Notices are now being sent out to anyone that the university can contact with links to credit checks and identity monitoring services. This afternoon, Minneapolis police are looking for a suspect after a deadly double shooting. Cece Gaines has what we know so far.
Hey there, we know as of this afternoon, there are no suspects and no arrests have been made yet, but police tell us an investigation is underway and witnesses are being interviewed. Here's what we know so far about what happened. Police tell us they got to the scene around 9 last night and found a 29-year-old man with life-threatening injuries. They did life-saving efforts, but he did die at the scene. Shortly after that, a man showed up at HCMC with non-life-threatening injuries. Police say those injuries were from the shooting that happened outside the 4th Street Saloon on West Broadway. Right now, police believe this started as a fight that escalated into a shooting. Now, police say if you know anything, to please reach out to Crime Stoppers. I'll send things back to you.
New details today as police in Indiana search for a man suspected of murder here in Minneapolis. He was accidentally released from jail just 2 days after his arrest because of a clerical error. NBC's Kathy Park tells us about the new internal investigation and why the suspect's girlfriend is now in custody.
The suspect, Kevin Mason, walked out of this jail behind me last Wednesday, and officials told the public nearly a week after his release, saying that the extra time was all part of a strategy to locate him. But as of this morning, he is still on the loose. His girlfriend, however, is in custody. In fact, authorities arrested her yesterday. They say that she actually picked up the suspect shortly after he walked out of the jail, and shortly after that, picked up a cell phone, went to a nearby Walmart, and purchased men's belongings. They believe that she knows of his whereabouts. Of course, residents are on edge. They're anxious as well because there's a murder suspect on the loose, and they want answers as to how this all happened in the first place. Back to you.
Well, here's more on the original case. Mason was charged with second-degree murder in connection with the 2021 shooting outside the Shiloh Temple. Happened during a funeral. A criminal complaint alleges there were multiple members of a street gang present. A date is set now for the Minnesota Supreme Court to hear arguments on a case calling for former President Donald Trump to be left off of the 2024 ballot. In the last 24 hours, we learned it will happen on November 2nd. The lawsuit filed by a liberal group of Minnesota voters says Trump's actions leading up to the January 6th attack at the Capitol disqualify him from running. They cite a rarely used insurrection clause that was written in the 14th Amendment. Let's take a live look outside our studios here in Golden Valley. We're seeing a bit of color on the trees. It's making its way down here, Ben, making its way.
Yeah, and eventually it will be here. And what's interesting is you see some trees that are almost in full color while others still have quite a bit of green on them. Now, part of that has to do with the tree's stress level. If it's stressed, it tends to turn its leaves a little bit earlier than if it is a more healthy tree. But regardless, yeah, a lot of color will be around the state momentarily, probably within this weekend and into next week. Here's another live look outside. It is a lovely day outside. Feels like it's mid-July, but without the humidity. Currently 78 degrees, the dew point very comfortable in the mid-50s, and your hour-by-hour forecast takes us in the lower 80s. It's just slightly cooler from the highs we saw yesterday. We are expected to see a good amount of sunshine, but if you look out to our west, you'll see kind of a messy weather system bringing widespread showers and even some garden variety thunderstorms. Some of that activity will be moving into our neck of the woods as we head into the weekend. We will highlight Rena areas with the best chance of seeing a nice soaking rain both Saturday and Sunday coming up.
All right. Thank you, Ben. Well, right now, negotiations are back on between the Writers Guild of America and Hollywood Studios. It could mean a potential deal by the end of the day. Before meeting yesterday, both sides had not met since August. Thousands of writers and actors have been on strike for 4 months. They say the money that they're paid does not match the revenue created by their work. The union and the studios seem to be the closest to a deal today than they have been in months. We are less than 24 hours away from a deal deadline set by the United Auto Workers. Today, the UAW is meeting with Chrysler's parent company, Stellantis, to negotiate a new contract. The union met with Ford and GM yesterday. Workers say if serious progress is not made by noon tomorrow, they will strike at even more locations.